and that makes it so easy for something to go wrong that'll put them out for not only that race, you know, so those points, but handicap them in the next races or them not be in them at all. And believe me, I don't wish that on anyone, but it is a real possibility, and that's why you can't write off anyone, you know. Like, we could lose 2 guys out of 1 race, and then though that points gap is halved for against 2 of them, you know. So yeah, anything can happen, literally.
We just saw there that Japanese fans placard there. It said, "Go the Moto2 World Champion Ayagura." Oh, have they got a crystal ball? Have they seen something that we don't know? Of course, Ayagura and Japanese fans will be hoping that that is a top prediction, and Ayagura does become our 2022 Moto2 World Champion.
Matt, I don't know if anyone's still listening to us without bikes going around on the track, but I'm determined to tell you about this Moto2 thing, because I won't be able to tell you tomorrow. I'll be down in pit lane. It's Moto2, so I've got to tell you why I think the riders in Moto2 at the top should be paid well. Because so it's possible to make a career here without the pressure of moving up to MotoGP like it is now. This is traditionally what has happened. You see 250 guys in the past stay there, get paid well and make a career out of it, and traditionally there is riders that suit that class better, you know, like they move up, it doesn't work, you know, for whatever reason. Like, I've got a couple of guys off the top of my head, like recent ones, Tom Luthi, Sam Lowes, who have made really good careers in Moto2. Their moves up probably didn't work because they didn't have the machinery at the time, but I mean Tom having to ride that you know, customer Honda, which wasn't a real MotoGP bike, was it? You know, in my opinion, it wasn't close. Not like LCR have got now, the real thing. And Sam Lowes' one was a tough move as well. Anyway, they came back and made a storming career at Moto2, and I think that should be a possibility. You know, the teams have two riders. There's nothing wrong with bringing a young guy through as he comes through and moves up, you know, but why not have a guy that is quite happy to stay in Moto2? I like there being really good experienced riders like Tom Luthi and Sam have been in the class, because there was guys like, for example, Luca Cadalora for years in the 250 class. Guys like, I'm talking about, that the young guys have a benchmark against, you know, to race against, to learn from, and it's always good to have an older experienced guy in there, because he kind of sets the rules if he is the fastest man. He, like, for example, I've said before, Mick Doohan did not tolerate people riding slow on line. You got a new one ripped from Mick if you got in the way, and you never did it again. And this is good, you know, the younger guys learn from it. It doesn't drag the sport down. You know what I'm saying? Well, when you've got guys without the experience, riders I should be saying, without the experience, there's a danger of it getting dragged the wrong way, you know, etiquette wise on track. But also right now there's no spots in MotoGP, so, you know, rather than being disappointed every year if you are on the move, or everybody going for those same couple of jobs, why not let guys stay in this class and fight for it? Because if we don't do it in this class, there isn't that possibility in Moto3. It's got an age limit, you know. Like, I would like to see the older riders stay in Moto3. I understand why they've got the rule to move them up, but, you know, let's make it more possible, in my opinion, for guys to make riders to make a long career in Moto2.
Yeah, there's a lot of riders, isn't there? Well, only Augusto Fernandez moving out of Moto2 into MotoGP next year, and that's going to leave a lot of really hot, young, talented riders in the Moto2 World Championship. Let's hope that they don't have to stay in Moto2 for too long. As we look at Kevin Kubo, he's got a big smile on his face for one good reason, because he was in this Q2 session before it got red flagged. Let's pop back down to pit lane because we saw a very busy factory Aprilia garage, kind of the Andorra Massive, I guess you could say. Maverick Vinales, Pol Espargaró and Alex Rins having a bit of a catch-up when they thought they'd be out on circuit now fighting each other in that MotoGP FP3, but they're not. I'm delighted to say they're now in pit lane talking to Jack.
Yeah, thank you very much. Joined with some pretty good company here. Maverick Vinales, Pol Espargaró, Alex Rins. I guess guys all talking about the weather at the moment. Alex, what do you make of it?
Well, we are talking about the tire decision for tomorrow. Not enough time to test on dry condition.
And what do you think?
Well, we were discussing between the soft or the medium rear. We don't know yet.
Aleix, have you seen weather like this before at Motegi?
No, it's a shame because also for everybody on the grandstands, the thunderstorm is not nice at all. Also a lot of standing water, so it's difficult for us, to go out on track. Anyway, it looks good weather for tomorrow, so hopefully we can put a good show on tomorrow on the race.
Maverick, how are you getting on so far?
Well, I think now it stops raining, so we'll see. I think the daylight it's the limit. But I hope we can do the qualifying and we can push, because I think at the end for the spectators and for everyone it's here, it's better if we ride a little bit more today.
Fingers crossed.
Other way we can try the format for the next year. Make the qualifying tomorrow and the race.
Or not.
Well,
it can stay like it is.
We've seen it at Phillip Island last year, and it went pretty well for you, Maverick. So I guess you wouldn't mind qualifying tomorrow.
Well, not pretty well because
the race, but qualifying.
I finished in the ground. But yeah, it went well, but Phillip Island is different. We'll see. I mean, we need to adapt. Of course, the first of all is the safety, and we'll see. But already in the morning, without that much water, was a lot of aquaplaning and standing water on the track. So like this, for me, is only a dangerous thing. We'll see.
Just looking at the weather radar over your right-hand shoulder, Aleix, I'm seeing quite a lot of red. Yeah, it doesn't look too good at all.
No, it's a shame. We knew it that until 5 p.m. it will be difficult, to go on track because look like the thunderstorm will keep on going. So yeah, let's wait and see. We can be ready. We can put our leather suit in 5 minutes, but the problem is that, as Maverick just said, the standing water it's difficult. In the long straights we spin already in 5th, 6th gear this morning, so it's difficult. But let's wait and see.
And how are we all enjoying Japan? Aleix, I imagine you've had plenty of sushi so far. Is it better than a particular restaurant in Andorra?
Here it's not easy to eat sushi. For example, they don't in Tokyo. They don't use the salmon, the sake. With the sushi, just tuna and different types of fish. So it's difficult. It's not like our sushi, but I enjoy a lot, especially other foods like ramen, or also like their meat. They have very, very good meat. So it's good to be here.
How are you enjoying the fans? I saw the fan show last night when you came out. Was crazy.
Yeah, it was unbelievable when we've been in the fan zone, all the blue lights and all the people. I mean, hats off for them, because it still was a little bit light raining yesterday, also in the afternoon. So yeah, it's quite impressive.
Maverick, having fun so far?
Well, I arrived to Tokyo, and it's always nice to be here. I like a lot the city. I like a lot how clean it is. It is pretty amazing. And it's a country where you always love to come because you feel very good. And we'll see. I hope the weather improve and we can make everything. Let's see. Now I don't know what they say.
We'll just see the IRTA technical director Danny Aldridge was just popping his head in the garage.
Did you ever see one guy that used long and short? I never seen.
I know. Can you believe this? Alex Rins, in torrential rain, is wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Alex, I mean, talk us through this outfit here. Surely this isn't being dressed for the weather.
Well, I was stretching, getting ready for the FP4, and the explanation right no and left yes was because on the right sometimes I felt a bit of arm pump. So like this better.
I mean, it's good style anyway. I like it.
Glad, no? To go to a party like this?
I think so. Me and you on Sunday night in Tokyo. You've got to go like that, though. And in terms of the flyaway races, guys, the first time we've done it in 3 years, does it take a different mental approach before coming out here in terms of getting ready for the long flights, the succession of the races together as well? How do you prepare for this part of the season?
I mean, sometimes it arrives at the end of the season, so sometimes you can be a little bit tired, so it's not easy. But after 3 years without flyaway races, I think everybody was aiming for these races to come. And in my case, I'm enjoying a lot this year, so it arrived in a very good moment. And I love the countries that we're going to visit on the next days. I think Alex as well, but Maverick and I, we are very lucky with the team around us because we have a very nice people around. Apart from a technical side, in the human side they are very, very good, so it's good to share time with them and to travel all over the world with riding our bike.
Just hearing in my ears, free practice 3 has been cancelled, but MotoGP qualifying Q1 and Q2 set to go ahead. Your first reactions to that?
Set to go ahead, let's see the track condition. I mean, we will see the laps that the BMW car is doing, and for sure, if it's safety to go,
Set to go ahead for Alex. Maverick and I, we can watch from the TV the Q1.
Maverick also goes to Q1.
No.
Ah, no?
No. Fine. You go to Q1. So please tell us how is the track when you come back.
You will enjoy my laps.
More pressure, man.
Well, losing out on FP3, I guess, in these conditions and the race set to be dry tomorrow isn't that much of a loss.
As Alex mentioned, it is very important for the safety, because at the end we saw what happened in Silverstone some years ago, that when there is aquaplaning you cannot stop the bike. You don't brake, actually. With carbon brakes and all the stuff, it's pretty tough. But we will see. I mean, if the guy says he's ready to go, it's because he's safe, and we will see. But of course, Alex will ride first. So we will see.
Okay, so I go to stretch a little bit. See you.
We'll see you later, Alex. He's got some work to do. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your time and good luck in qualifying.
Great stuff, Jack. Great to hear some banter there down in pit lane between 3 guys who know each other very, very well, of course, based in Andorra. There is Alex Rins with his team shirt on, short sleeves and shorts. And they're the Aprilia boys then. Confirmation on your screens of the updated schedule then, because of these thunderstorms that have hit Motegi. The MotoGP FP3 session that was scheduled to go over 30 minutes, that has been cancelled. Moto2 Q2, which did start before this torrential rain hit Motegi, there was, 9 minutes and 37 seconds remaining of it. Moto2 Q2, what's left of it, and MotoGP Q1 and Q2, they are expected to go ahead. At what time? Specific time we don't know. Of course, as soon as we do know, and as soon as we know there's been some let-up in these inclement weather conditions, we will be bringing it to you first. But as you can see, the 30-minute MotoGP FP3 session, that has been scrubbed off the schedule due to these adverse weather conditions. But fingers crossed for the riders, the teams and the fans, who, many of them actually, I've got to say, outstanding effort. They're still in the grandstands, the main grandstand opposite the pit lane here in Japan. Some of them are braving the elements to hope that there will be the resumption of Moto2 qualifying and then a full MotoGP qualifying later on this afternoon. That's the update at the moment. They are expected to go ahead, so maybe the weather forecasting systems are optimistic and predicting some kind of relenting of the conditions as is at the moment. There was Tony Arbolino, a beautiful slow motion shot of him as he swept out of the victory corner. Here is Cambodia, who we just talked about a few moments ago. There was no time set at the start of that Q2 session for Bobier. He came out of the Q1 session when the rain was already starting to get pretty heavy at the back end of Moto2 Q1. Bobier, what lies in store for him then? He's been linked strongly with a BMW ride in the Moto America Championship next year, a Moto America series which he dominated for so many years, and he will go back to America with so many great memories. Who could forget that first ever American pole position in the Intermediate World Championship since John Kaczynski at Laguna Seca all the way back in 1989. Cambodia doing it, no better place as well in front of his home crowd at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. That was the moment for Bobier on the power coming out of turn number 11 before the red flags were thrown. There's Paolo Ciabatti and Davide Tardozzi, the Ducati Corsa top management.
I really like these two. Again, I've known them for so long, have a good communication. You know, I mean, since Davide quit racing, you know, I first met him, and Paolo's been around superbikes for years. You know, he was there when I turned up, and so that was, what, early 90s. And I can't help but see them as the two old boys in the Muppets, you know, up and, you know, yelling and laughing, and they genuinely make me laugh. They come out with a couple of things. For example, when I rode the Ducati, I was walking past them and said, congratulations, as, well, I think it was Silverstone and Pecco had won, and last time I'd really seen them was at Misano when I rode their bike, and Paolo said, he won on your settings, Simon, from Misano. And then they kind of laughed away to themselves and wandered off. And yeah, I genuinely enjoy their company. They make me giggle.
Well, speaking of Ducati, one man who is still fighting for this World Championship after his Aragon victory, 48 points he is behind Fabio Quartararo. He'll be getting to know Paolo Ciabatti and Davide Toddozzi a lot more, won't he, in 2023, moving into the factory team alongside Pecco Bagnaia in 2023. Let's hear from our most recent MotoGP winner. Did it in sensational fashion 6 days ago in Aragon. I'm delighted to say Jack Appleyard is with Enea Bastianini down in pit lane.
Thank you very much, Bertie. And just before I speak with Enea, a little update from pit lane. All 12 of the MotoGP team managers have just been called to a meeting at the back of the boxes with Erta, with Dorna, so we may well have some news imminent on what's going to happen for the remainder of the afternoon. But until we get that news, Enea, great time to speak with you. Just 6 days ago, a fourth win of the season. Was that probably the most special one, getting the better of Pecco on the final lap like that?
Yeah, very special race in Aragon, one of the best. Not the best of this year, but we have made a really good battle, especially at the last lap. And well, now we are here in Japan with a good wet situation.
Everyone with an umbrella. If you say it's not your best win, why not, and what is that?
Yeah, now I think probably we have made a step also in this condition. This morning I was fast also with the wet, but we know. I think the FP3 will be cancelled and we're going directly in the qualifying, but we will see how is it and if he's stop with this, no?
Yeah, and talk us through riding Motegi for the very first time on a MotoGP bike. Last time you were here in 2019 on a Moto2, it must be quite the difference.
Yeah, the difference is too big because MotoGP are incredible. Also, the data of the engineering was a little bit strange, no? Because now we have the rear device and also the bike is so different respect 3 years ago. And nothing is good. I like this bike on this track. And yesterday I'm crashing in FP1, but is okay. Now we try to going on the Q2.
Do you feel like a rookie again almost?
Yeah. When I come in that track, my feel is like a rookie, you know. And it's very nice. It's only my second year, and I have to do a game more experience in that track.
Just before I dived in, I saw you having a good chat with Alvi. You guys have got such a great relationship, bonded over the past couple of years. I'm sure disappointing and frustrated that you won't be with him next season.
Yeah, we have a really strongest equipment, and I think with all the guys, my relationship is really nice. And the next year, I'm going in the factory team, and also here the spirit is really nice. And Albi don't come with me the next year, but Dario, yes. And I think we can do really good work, and also with the new engineering with Riga. And I'm excited also for the next year.
When you say Riga, that's Marco Rigamonti will be coming in as crew chief next year?
Yeah, Marco I think is a really good person and also a good engineer, and I think we can do great works from the start. We have 1 day of test, I think, at the end of the season, and is crucial to bring confidence early, no, for arrive prepared for the championship.
And will you speak to him ahead of that test in Valencia to try and work on the relationship for him to understand you and you to understand him?
I don't know. For the moment, we haven't a lot of relation, no? Because we are in two different boxes, and I don't see many times Riga, but probably after this year, also during the winter, we have to make some meeting before the new season.
I understand that it will be a challenge to grow a new relationship, especially when you've been so close with Albi. So what are the things that you can do? What were the things that helped grow the relationship with Albi when you were first put together?
Yeah, with Albi, the relationship is really nice, and I think with Riga at the start will be difficult, no? Because I think the work inside also in the factory will be different, no respect in the satellite like Gresini, and nothing. But we have to do the 100% to stay concentrated, focused, and to do always the best.
Well, it'll be an exciting adventure next year. Of course, you keep Dario, your data engineer as well, who's been so crucial to you. How important is it that you keep him with you alongside you?
Yeah, Dario will stay with me, and it's a really important. We have a really good relationship, and also with the electronics we can work well. Every time I think he's a good guy, and in the future we can do a really good job.
Enea, thank you for your time. Good luck for the rest of the year and an exciting new adventure with Riga and the factory team in 23.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Always great to hear from Enea Bastianini. Big changes then coming up for him, machinery-wise, team-wise and personnel-wise in 2023. Of course, we know he's moving to the Ducati Lenovo team to partner his current great rival, Pekka Bagnaia, into the factory team. What an opportunity for Bastianini. And big changes crew-wise, because KTM have been getting the checkbook out again, haven't they, for some key Ducati personnel. Technical-wise, they poached Fabiano Sterlachini, who was pretty much Gigi Dall'Igna's right-hand man for so many years in the Borgo Panigale factory. He's been there for a good year or so working on that RC16. We know, of course, Francesco Guidotti moved over to be team manager from Pramac Ducati, and as Jack Appleyard confirmed there with Enea Bastianini, his current crew chief, Alberto Girabiola, we think that it's all but confirmed that he's moving into a senior technical role, a consultant role in KTM's factory team next year as well. And Jack Miller also is taking his long-standing Ducati crew chief, Christian Pupelin, up into KTM as well. Now, that takes a lot of Ducati expertise to Mattighofen in Austria next year. Christian Pupelin, talk about stalwarts for Ducati. He's been there right from the get-go. When Ducati first rolled up in MotoGP back in 2003, PP was there as part of that project. So KTM making big statements in terms of headhunting some top technical talent for their project next year.
Yeah, Jack's crew chief, that's going with him. I did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned about Phillip Island being there, you know, when Casey won, and there was 2007. And I said, were you crew chief, Casey? And he said, no, I was like, he oversaw the project technically. So, I mean, he's a very knowledgeable guy from, you know, with a lot of years experience. That's a pretty good win for KTM.
Yeah, and of course, it was 15 years ago yesterday, right here. What was then, of course, known as the Twin Rim Motegi, renamed this year to celebrate its 25th anniversary, the Mobility Resort Motegi. 15 years ago yesterday, Casey Stoner won Ducati's one and only MotoGP World Championship in 2007. They so desperately want that rider title back in Bologna, don't they, at the end of 2022. It looks like it's in the hands, or their best hope lies with Pekka Bagnaia. But Bastianini just 48 points behind the championship. We just saw that live shot, didn't we, of the marshals then doing their utmost to clear all the standing water away off the surface of this Motegi circuit. But at the moment, the rain is still beating down on this 4.8 kilometre circuit. Those fans deserve an enormous shout out, don't they? Because the weather over the last hour, 90 minutes or so, has been thoroughly dreadful here in Motegi. But there's still a few pockets of them scattered around the main grandstands, under the umbrellas, under the raincoats. Some of them look like they should be at a theme park, don't they? In a log flume, the way it's going at the moment. Alton Towers beckons.
Matt, I hope you don't mind, but you just said the word shout out, and I decided I've got to give a shout out to a team in general, since we're still kind of looking at Moto2 here, even though they're not running on track, and that's the Liqui Moly intact GP team, you know, Dynavolt also a sponsor of theirs, because I think they are so professional, honest, so capable technically, and well known, for example, for things like not all those things, not just all those things I just listed, but for like paying their staff not only on time but early. You know, what a rare and beautiful thing, you know, that everyone can relate to. And I just want to give them a shout out, because I think they've underachieved, you know, for the level of the team they are. I don't know quite why. Maybe it's choice of rider or whatever it is. And I think, you know, because they haven't got world titles like I think the level of team is, you know. I think it's up there with Mark VDS, for example, as professionalism, awesome team. And I believe it's only a matter of time, you know, before they do that.
Cracking team, big fan of the team boss, Jürgen Ling. Let's hope it all clicks together next season, and an interesting and exciting new lineup potentially for Liqui Moly next year. We believe that Lukas Tulovic, who's running away with the European Moto2 title with that team coming into 2023, and also Darren Binder, of course, current with you RNF Yamaha MotoGP rider. He's being hotly tipped to step into that German team next year. Now then, the last time I think we had a full wet MotoGP qualifying session, a certain rider by the name of Pol Espargaró took pole position on the KTM at the time at the European Grand Prix in Valencia. Let's hear the thoughts of the Repsol Honda rider right now. I'd like to say Pol, former Moto2 world champion, is down in pit lane with Jack.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's Simon Crafer and Matt Burt in the box. Hector just checking to make sure that we're speaking to the right people. Of course we are, Paul. Bertie, actually, always on it, says that the last time MotoGP had a fully wet qualifying session, do you remember what happened, Paul?
Well, I don't remember. I have no idea.
He says you were on pole position.
Oh my God. I don't think today is not gonna be my day. I think it's difficult.
Looking at the conditions at the moment, I mean, it looks like we're going to have a bit of a wait. What are you making of it? How are you sort of filling the time? What do you do in moments like this?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, the problem now is not that it's just raining. I mean, it's at the moment it's light rain. We had many times this kind of rain. The problem is the amount of water we have on track. It's insane. We can see the BMW car just hanging around and taking a lot of water out from the same line. Already this morning it was not raining as much, and it was difficult to see the guy in front, and the aquaplanings in the back straight, it was already huge. So I think, yeah, the problem is the rain, but the problem also is the amount of water that is on track now.
And how are you as well? Big off this morning. I mean, you look okay, you're still smiling, which is good news.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's okay. I mean, I had this high side crash. I was tuning my TC to try to make it closer to be a little bit safer, but it was not enough. That lap also, I was coming a little bit too hot. I was coming in a good lap in T2, but you need to try. You need to find the limit, and unfortunately, in our job, find the limit means crash. But it was a great opportunity to find the limit, to know where the bike was, where the limit was, to try to be better on the qualifying, and let's see if we can go, and then which position is gonna be okay for us.
And yesterday, both you and Mark said that the Honda seems fairly competitive here. You weren't particularly sure why. Having looked at the data overnight, have you got any idea or any further idea as to why that's the case?
Yeah, there is maybe a couple of things that are going around different than the other places. First of all, that we had the longer session, which it means that we didn't have this Dunlop rubber of Moto2 for a long on track. We were able to clean it, and having quite a lot of Michelin rubber on track, this means that when we were putting the soft tires, actually all of us, we put at least 3 tires, new tires, and then some of them even 4 sets of tires. So it means that the amount of Michelin rubber on track was very, very big. This helps a lot on having a good rear grip, and when there is grip, all the problems on all bikes kind of disappear a little, and you can apply your riding style in a quite aggressive way, which suits in my case and in Honda case. So that's why I think we were quite competitive also. the soft rear tires were, in compared to the mediums, a little bit softer than normally. So also it gave us a little bit more confidence to open the throttle. But I mean, there is many things. Also this track, Nagashima-san was testing a lot here before we come to race. Also this is important. After 3 years not coming here, we had more info than the others, and this is also interesting. So I mean, many things are going around, but hopefully we can put it on track tomorrow on the race and do a good job.
Obviously a different circumstance this weekend, 75-minute session, and then the rain forecast today meant that you guys could take a fairly sort of lenient look at throwing soft tyres at it. Looking at next year, of course, that session at the end of Friday will be 60 minutes, slightly longer than what we're used to. Do you think that could have a similar effect, a similar impact to what we saw yesterday?
Well, for sure, it's going to change. I mean, if you add more minutes to the session, it's going to change on a good in time of, I mean, in a way of having more grip on track. As I said, with the time we have now on the session, sometimes we have not time enough to clean the track of that Dunlop rubber. And, you know, Michelin tire, it seems to be quite chemical, where when it's, you know, mixing with Dunlop rubber, the result is very bad. That's why on Sunday race, we normally feel that the grip is dropping quite a lot, and we do not understand why. And this is because there is a lot of rubber from the race before of Moto2. So, you know, next year is going to be next year. Also, the bike is going to be different, so difficult to compare, but we are open for everything.
And I'm sure you always enjoy coming back to Japan. So many good memories here, including that World Championship as well.
Yeah, I love this place. I love this place, the fans. I think, the best moment of my career has been here in Japan. Even here in Motegi or in Suzuka, I won 2 times the Suzuka Towers, and that was, I think I didn't expect in that time that I would be so happy and so alive in that 2 races. I enjoy so much the atmosphere there in Suzuka. Is for the people and the fans that wants to live that, I tell them to go, because it's something special and different from a normal racing, and I had so much fun there. And also I become world champion here in 2013 in Motegi. So I mean, the best moments of my career for sure. I remember surrounded by a lot of Japanese fans and people, so it's so nice also always to come here.
And I remember when you were speaking about that world title, the one thing that you said was the one thing that tinged it with sadness is the fact that your partner couldn't be there with you at the time and you couldn't celebrate with her. I imagine she's not come out with the family at home as a result for these 2 weeks, or potentially 5 weeks if you're staying out. So how are things different then to now? Are you still going through the same struggles of missing home, and how are you trying to overcome that?
Yeah, now it's even worse, because before, when I was living, you know, without my family, without my wife. In that time, she was not. But now I'm living without my wife, I'm without my 2 daughters, which is even more painful. I'm leaving my princess at home, so it's hard. And every year it's a little bit harder as you become older. You know, I've been a lot of years already in MotoGP, like 15 years, more than my age. I mean, my half life I've been, you know, crossing the sea and racing overseas, a lot of races. So, I mean, it's quite tricky and difficult, but it's part of the life. It's my life. Also, I love to do that. And, yeah, it's what I will continue doing, at least in the next 2 years.
I imagine FaceTime is the app that you use most whilst you're away.
Technology is my best friend these times.
Thank you, Paul. Good to see that you're fit and healthy, and good luck if qualifying gets underway.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks to Pol Espargaró. I just love listening to Pol. He's just always got a positive vibe, hasn't he? So full of energy. He's just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic character. So bubbly. I mean, he hasn't had much to smile about and cheer about, has he, since that podium in the opening round in Qatar, but he's kept his chin up. We just saw there, didn't we, that super slow motion replay of the praying mantis. And we're praying for some let up in this horrible weather right now here in Motegi. There's the confirmation. That's the latest information we have here ahead of the Moto Grand Prix of Japan. FP3 MotoGP, which was due to run over 30 minutes. That would have been completed by now. We'd be hoping to get stuck into MotoGP qualifying, but that was cancelled due to these weather conditions. We are still hoping, as the graphic says, to have Moto2 Q2 and both 15-minute MotoGP qualifying sessions coming up shortly, or later on this afternoon. They are both expected to go ahead. It is still raining here in Motegi, and as we've heard from all the guys always, giving us great insight down in pit lane with Jack. The main concern has been about the aquaplaning from the standing water and visibility as well. We can just see here a lot of the prominent team managers coming out of the briefing room. There's technical director Danny Aldridge. There's Maya Merigali, Monster Energy Yamaha team boss. We saw Erta boss Mike Trimby as well, the BMW safety car heading back out onto the circuit. Jack, back down to you. I think you've got a man who will be in dreamland here. What an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Tetsu Nagashima, wildcarding in Honda's own Grand Prix, riding a Honda for the factory team in front of his home crowd. Tetsu Nagashima with Jack. Down to you guys.
Yeah, just grab Tetsu now. I was going to dive out the back to catch the team managers, but I'll have a quick chat with Tetsu, because he actually just revealed to me that was your first ever time on a MotoGP bike in wet conditions this morning. How on earth was that?
It was amazing because the mission tire was a lot of grip, and I never feel limit still, you know, on the track, and especially the tire was amazing. When normally I'm using the Bridgestone tire for 8 hours, and wow, completely different tire feels like.
You had a bit of a problem at the end of the session. What happened there?
Yeah, at the end of the session we tried the other bike, and finally we had some brake problem on the front, but it's okay, it's okay. I have to try a lot of things for testing, but I'm enjoying a lot.
I can see you're enjoying it a lot, and you're doing a very good job as well. Only 1.3 seconds away from the fastest man yesterday. You must be enjoying it out there.
Yeah, I'm enjoying a lot, but I was expecting a little bit more, because yeah, that lap time was almost my best lap, but everybody is faster than what I expected. But let's see for tomorrow. Today, okay, the weather is not good, but tomorrow looks good, and I try to do my best.
And tomorrow could play into your hands as well, with everyone struggling with dry track time. You've done loads of laps around here, so you're in a good position to be competitive tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. Not so bad. Also, my average time was not bad. And let's see tomorrow. Especially my problem when I put short tire, I cannot use, you know, good lap time. But let's see tomorrow.
And what's next for you? Having done the Suzuka 8 Hour, having got the opportunity here, is the fire still there in the belly to maybe make a return in some degree in some paddock?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because these kind of things I have to ask to HLC. I hope I can come back here again, or even not only Motegi, I don't know, for Valencia or anywhere for European tests. But let's see if I can walk like a correct way. For sure they will have something, but let's see.
Fingers crossed. Even looking at World Superbike potentially, having been so strong in the Suzuka 8 Hour, it looks as though HRC are bringing a newly homologated Superbike for next year. That could be something that could fit you, maybe?
I'm not sure, especially 8 hours we are using the Bridgestone tire, and the World Superbike using the Pirelli tire. It was between them is quite big difference. We have to adapt much more for Superbike, but for sure I'm also testing the World Superbike bike only sometime, but I feel you know, we are improving step by step, and let's see next year. I hope they have more good bike, and they can be more good results.
And I have to say a personal thank you to you, Tetsu-san, as well, because last night and the night before as well, you gave me some excellent recommendations in the restaurant we were in. It was superb.
It's nice. That restaurant is a very nice restaurant around here, and I like what I recommend to you. And,
are you going there tonight again?
I think so.
Okay, I might see you there, and I'll come across and ask for another recommendation. Thank you, Tetsu.
Thank you.
As long as he picks up the bill as well, Jack, for the latest instalment of your restaurant trips with Tetsu Nagashima. Great to hear from Nagashima-san. Of course, he won the opening Grand Prix of 2020 in Moto2, didn't he? And doing sterling work behind the scenes. He's going to be an important figure behind the scenes for HRC as they try to get some direction then with that RC213V. Unfortunately, it feels like in the last sort of 4 or 5 minutes or so that the rain that had just eased off ever so slightly, it's just started to worsen again. We just saw all those team managers come out of that briefing room as well. I know now for sure Jack's going to be hot-footing it around to try and find out what the latest up-to-date session news is. Now, let's go down to pit lane again, because Jack Appleyard rather has grabbed the word with LCR Honda boss Lucio Cecchino, I'm sure was part of that meeting. What's the news, Jack?
Yeah, he certainly was. I've dived in next door to Tetsu Nagashima's box just to grab a word with Lucio because he was in that meeting. He's just speaking with Taka Nakagami first and now one of IRTA's representatives. I'll just see if I can peel him away very quickly at the end of this conversation so we can find out the very latest. Lucio, you're in that meeting. What was said? What's happening?
Well, there was, of course, deep consideration. So the fact is that as soon the rain will, let's say, will stop, Franco and Loris will continue to look at the track condition. If they will judge the track condition is okay, there will be the last 9 minutes of qualifying practice for the Moto2 category. And then also depending by the feedback that the Moto2 rider will give us, we will decide to go straight in Q1 and Q2 in the MotoGP. But everything must be done before, let's say, 4:15, because around 5 o'clock it started to go down and the sunset is at 5:35.
So 4:15 in an hour's time is the cut-off point?
Should be more or less this, let's say, the latest time before to take a final decision.
Thank you very much, Lucio.
You are welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks to Lucio checking out that it was part of that behind-the-scenes meeting with all MotoGP team bosses, discussions, of course, best efforts going on behind the scenes to make sure that we do hopefully get the remaining action in Moto2 qualifying complete, and then we get the 2 scheduled 15-minute MotoGP sessions. But as Lucio made a very good point there, of course, we're nearly in October here in Japan, and it does get dark very, very early. Around 5 p.m. local time is when we lose, well, I was going to say sunlight here, but there's been no sunlight at all, has there, around Motegi today. There's been heavy cloud cover since we woke up this morning. So 4:15 then, in exactly an hour's time, that looks like it will be the cut-off period when we might have to call it a day unless there is an improvement in these weather conditions. There's Valentino Rossi's lifelong great pal, of course, still a big influence in the MotoGP World Championship. Yes, you're on TV, Uccio. There's Uccio Salucci. Of course, now Valentino Rossi's eyes and ears in the MotoGP paddock in terms of the Muni VR46 project. Moto2 with Celestino Vietti and Niccolo Antonelli. Sadly, no representation for Muni VR46 in what was a disrupted and stopped Moto2 Q2, but Luca Marini's having a great run right now. 4th place finishes for him, wasn't it, in Austria? He backed that up with an excellent 4th place in his home race in Misano, close to top 6 again last time out in Aragon. Marini, and he set the fastest lap of that Grand Prix last weekend for the first time in MotoGP.
This man on screen, Matt, I'm back from the bathroom break and with a coffee to battle well, the time difference, jet lag. So
you've cemented your legendary status in this commentary box, mate, because getting a caffeine hit right now is exactly what we both needed.
Yep, definitely. So I want to talk about Alex Rins, who was just on our screen, because I've thought he's rode fantastic this year. He's had some bad luck. I mean, I didn't believe in luck for a long time until 97, and it's just things kept jumping out in front of me, you know, that stopped my bike. So then I realized, okay, you can make your own luck like I've always believed, but you need a little bit of luck as well. And Alex hasn't had luck, but he's rode so well this year, and I really look forward to see what he can do on the LCR Honda. I think it's really interesting for Honda to have him on the bike to see what he can do, you know, feedback wise, not unlike Joan Mir. I think that's going to be really interesting to see the 2 different styles get on the Honda and see who can adapt and give feedback. And I think they're going to be a real key part over the next years of Honda's march forward, you know, back to the front. But yeah, getting back to Alex Rins, the conditions were meant to be wet day 1 and day 2, then straight into a dry race. When I saw that weather forecast, he leapt out at me because, like I mentioned, I think it was yesterday in the commentary box with you, Alex Rins is so natural, doesn't change his bike, set up, you know, one of his crew chief will put harder springs in for the certain tracks, you know, for harder braking tracks like here, or the subtle little adjustments, but geometry-wise, everything else I can visibly see doesn't change, you know, gearing and springs and that. And I really felt that he could come out of the box with no practice and be the fastest. That's what he's so good at.
Yeah, we're all excited, aren't we, to see an exciting lineup for Honda next year with, as Simon mentioned, both Joan Mir and Alex Rins from the soon-to-be defunct factory Suzuki team moving over into Honda next year. Now then, the World Championship chase in MotoGP is hotting up and bubbling up very nicely, isn't it, with 5 races remaining, 17 points covering the top 3 men. And what a run Pecco Bagnaia is on currently. 120 of the last 125 points have gone the way of the in-form Italian. I'm delighted to say, down in pit lane right now with Jack Appleyard, is Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bertie. Pecco just chatting away with Davide Tardozzi at the moment. I dragged him away from looking through Instagram, which I think is the order of the day for all of the riders in pit lane at the moment, waiting to get underway. So, Pecco, sorry to drag you away from, was it Instagram you're having a look through? I think there's not much else to do at the moment, is there?
No, it's just seeing something on and a news on Facebook about the weather, but nothing. Just waiting, losing time to losing time.
And what did the news say? Any update? You can be our special weather reporter for the afternoon.
No, normally not. But we were expecting this heavy rain, but looks that will drop a bit, but not before the 4 o'clock. So it will be very difficult to ride today. I hope to have, but in any case, we have to see what they decide to do.
And it looked like a bit of a challenge for you in these conditions this morning. Why was that, and how did you feel out there?
I was trying different things because this year with on wet, I struggled a bit more compared last year. So we were testing things and I was improving. So let's see. It was great to have the FP4, the FP3 this afternoon, but we already had cancelled, so we didn't have time to try different things. But I think that our package is very complete on wet, and I have to be better.
Why are you struggling in particular, and what is it that you can't seem to get right?
I wasn't feeling the front tire, so I was like if I was on ice. But it's something that we already in the FP2 we improved, and the improvement of this afternoon for sure was something that was helping me. But we have to see if we have time to try.
And just looking at the conditions, if it was to ease up and you do get 10, 15 minutes notice before going out and diving, well, for you, at least you can watch Q1, but for those guys that have to go straight out for Q1, just how difficult is that going to be to get into the mindset of riding the bike full stop, but qualifying as well?
Yeah, for sure, it will not be easy, more on these conditions, because looking at the video with the car, the water on track was impressive, but the 2 riders that will go through the Q1 to Q2 will have a great advantage in terms of performance in these conditions. But let's see, because it's very difficult to know. It depends a lot by the feeling. So let's see if we can do something. If we can try. I need more laps on wet, but let's see. We have to wait.
Is it the sort of day where you can lose a championship, but you're definitely not going to win a championship?
No, I don't think so. Maybe I didn't understand the question.
You won't win the championship today, but you could lose it in these conditions.
In these conditions, a lot, yeah, because it's very easy to make a mistake, or make an error. So sometimes it's better to be more smart in these conditions.
Do you think that will be the case for the 3 title contenders? We could see potentially a surprise on pole position with you guys maybe thinking long term?
For sure, we are not so competitive. Me, Aleix, and this morning we were not so competitive on wet, but when it's time to do qualifying or like this, I think we can do a step in front, all because we won the championship and we want to start in front. So for sure, a big improvement was there.
Thank you for your time, Pecco. I'll let you get back to Facebook. And if you see any other news stories or weather updates, make sure you give me a shout, because I need to come to our special respondent.
Okay, va bene, ciao.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks to Pekka Bagnaia. Let's hope that we are going to get some track action at some point later on this afternoon. As Pecco said, in these kind of conditions, it's very, very difficult to manage the risk when you're fighting for the World Championship. There's some cat Chantra then keeping himself warm, hugging a tyre warmer and a Dunlop rear tyre down in the Idemitsu Honda Team Asia garage. I don't think temperature's a problem. Tatsuki Suzuki then.
Some cat might think it's quite cold, you know, compared to Thailand.
Yeah, compared to Thailand, this is probably Baltic, isn't it? So, Leopard Racing kick off the birthday celebrations. Tatsuki Suzuki, 25 today. Happy birthday, Suzuki-san. He's had a very good 25th birthday, I think it's fair to say so far. The team wishes you an amazing day. The Prosecco gets popped. He'll be hoping to do a bit more of that tomorrow at the end of the 20-lap Moto3 race. He's about to cut the cake as well. He's cut some pretty hot laps around this Motegi circuit. Happy birthday, Tatsuki. Save us a piece of that lovely looking cake. We'll have a bit of that, Tatsuki. We want a bit of that sign later on. Let's hope there's a bit left around in that Leopard on the garage for the commentators here.
Nah, not for me. I'm a savoury man, you know.
I'm
not cakes.
Trying to watch the waistline here as well. So happy birthday to Tatsuki Suzuki.
Maybe an apple cake or a fruit cake. No, that doesn't look like me at all.
So the Japanese fans wait patiently for some news of a potential resumption of the action here in Motegi. You can see that ticker on the bottom of your screens. MotoGP FP3 was cancelled when the conditions did deteriorate quite dramatically and rather suddenly around just before the halfway point of the Moto2 Q2 session.
Matt, I know you like, as you said, like listening to Pol Espargaró. I do as well. He's kept his chin up, even though it must have been such a hard couple of years at Honda. He's going home to KTM, that's what it feels like to me. And I like listening to as well, and I was thinking what it is. And I think it's not only that he's positive, I think it's what he says is genuine and you know, so believable, because I think that's my job, is watching everything these riders do, but listening to everything they say. And with Pol, you can pretty much take what he says for real, you know, at face value. He's one of those guys.
Well, we've already had one wet MotoGP race in 2022. Cash your minds back to round 2 at the Mandalika circuit in Indonesia, our first Indonesian Grand Prix in a quarter of a century. That day, one man ran away with it and dominated, didn't he? It was KTM's Miguel Oliveira. And right on cue, I'm delighted to say, down in pit lane with Jack is the Portuguese man. Right now, down to you, Jack.
Thank you very much. Yeah, joined by Miguel, and no better man to speak to, because the last time conditions were like this, as he stands up, you don't have to, don't worry, I can bend down. Thank you very much, though. Yeah, conditions were last like this in Mandalika, and that was a pretty good day for you.
Yeah, we have to call our shaman friends over there in Indonesia.
Do you have a number?
I don't have a number, but you guys probably have.
I mean, we're not too far away from Indonesia, are we? What do you reckon? You can get here in, what, 5 hours on a flight, maybe, just to sort it out in time for a Qatar-style night qualifying?
I think she has power enough in the little thing she holds, in the cup she holds it, to do it from a distance. I think we don't need to get her over here. I think she's already started praying, because the rain has gone down a fairly good amount, so let's see.
I did hear that as a result of winning the Indonesian Grand Prix, all of her powers were passed on to you, so if we get you a little bold, then we'll get you out in the middle of the track.
I have nothing here to do. I have to light up a few things to make some smoke, so I have nothing here, mate. So
I'll go looking in the back to see if I can find something. How's it going so far this weekend?
Yeah, good. We were competitive on the dry. That was a good sign, and I was happy with it. So now on the wet this morning, I also find myself quite comfortable with the bike. But I think already in FP2 there was kind of the limit there to ride, because there was a fairly good amount of standing water on the track in really fast places. So if the conditions are like FP2, I think we can go out in a safe way.
Back-to-back Grand Prix that we've seen KTM's directly through to Q2. Is that a sign that a step has been made?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have been putting a lot of effort into qualifying. It's my straight time going to Q2 this season. Yeah, not this season, but in the last 3 races I've been through Q2, so that's a good sign, and we're working hard just to be there.
I'm just looking at these little gifts that you've got as well. Just talk us through them.
Yeah, I got the Sylvanian family little rats.
I think they're bunnies. They're not rats.
Not really. I think they look like rats anyway. But yeah, apparently one is my wife and one is me. So there you go. Yeah.
I mean, you look very smart. That's I mean, KTM colour shirt, the little tie as well.
Yeah, what can I say? I mean, it's how. I think probably it was the only male little bunny in the shop. So, but it's good. I mean, Japanese fans always bring us these kind of things, and it's so cool because they are so passionate, so polite. They don't invade your space. They are super passionate, but somehow they're so polite. It's crazy to watch. So yeah, it's good.
Have you received any other gifts this weekend so far?
Yeah, cookies and yeah, but the cookies they taste like seafood. They're not the best ones.
Well, if any cookies are handed my way, then I'll make sure I give them a bit of a
I
swear.
didn't eat any one before I ride the bike, so that was good. My breath, it's quite okay.
Okay, good idea, good idea. Thank you very much, Miguel. Good luck if we get underway.
Thanks, mate.
Obviously not going to take off in that part of Portugal then, seafood cookies. Great to hear from Miguel Oliveira. He was strong in the wet conditions this morning, wasn't he? 4th place at the end of FP2 for the KTM Factory Racing rider. It is great to be back in Southeast Asia, particularly here in Japan. The fans are incredibly passionate. They come armed with gifts for not just the superstar riders in MotoGP, but they bring gifts for every rider. You need the excess luggage to go to Buriram, that's for sure, with all the presents and goodies that the Japanese fans bring. Nice to hear that Miguel Oliveira's loaded up with a lot of gifts for his family when he goes back to Europe.
Tell the listeners what you think about Miguel Oliveira. You know, as a rider, as a guy to listen to every day, debrief-wise, what are your thoughts?
He's just so smart, so intelligent, isn't he, Miguel? I mean, multilingual, he's very analytical. He's just obviously a guy that has the thought process. He's not a guy that I don't think sticks his neck out until he knows everything's kind of right. I think there's other riders on the grid that are perhaps willing to sort of push the envelope a little bit more when the bike's not set up as they feel like a Marquez, for example. I think Miguel's got to have everything sort of in that narrow operating window. If everything's okay for Miguel, he's unbeatable. Really, really quick guy, but I think sometimes he's like, everything does have to be perfect before we see him fully competitive, but class ride, and I think next year on that Apprentice he's going to do a lot of damage.
Well, I'd second that. I definitely feel that. I think he's an impressive man, you know, like all around, like his sense of humour, how clever he is, listening to him, yeah, analytical, like you said. I imagine his feedback's awesome to the team. I like him a lot. And then as a rider, he is, I think, absolutely fantastic. I think that the problem is he's been next to, you know, from what we can see, what the fans can see, he's been next to a man, Brad Binder, who is probably equal to Mark in the level that he can ride around problems, you know, force something to do something it doesn't want to do. I think him, Mark and Brad Binder, Marquez Brad Binder, probably the best in the world right now at that. And then having to be a teammate to a guy that can force something to happen can't have been easy, you know. And moving on to the Aprilia, that is in such a good state at the moment. You know, let's hope for them and for Miguel it continues next year. But I really think Miguel is going to be a threat for podiums. I think before the year's out that he'll win one. I know that's sticking my neck out, but that's my gut feeling. And maybe if it all goes really well and kicks off from the start, maybe even one of the championship contender guys. That's how much I think of Miguel.
So some good news then, as you can see on your screens, and we can hear Moto2 bikes and MotoGP bikes being fired up in pit lane here in Japan. And after that, what, good 90 minutes or so rain disruption, rain intervention, there you can see that new schedule in the top right hand corner of your picture. The best possible news, pit lane will reopen at 15:38 p.m. local time here in Japan. That's in just about 5 minutes time. So we saw Pedro Acosta getting the leather zipped up, getting the earplugs ready as he prepares for the final 9 minutes and 37 seconds of this Moto2 Q2. This is going to be a real dash for pole position, isn't it, in the intermediate class? This is really going to be fortune favouring the brave. As it stood before the red flags came out, it was pole position going the way of Aaron Canet with a 2:07.503. It would be a front row if it stays as is, with Somkat Chantra and Jake Dixon. Of course, the initial challenge, Simon, with the clock ticking down as well, with just over 9.5 minutes remaining, these guys are going to want to go out first and foremost just to check the track conditions, work out where the grip is, work out where those patches of standing water will be. It's not the time to be going out there and going gung-ho straight out of the gate.
Well, yeah, they've only got 9 minutes, and the pressure is that you can't fall off. I mean, there's times on the board, but if you're further down, you can't afford to fall off. Then, like you said, they've got to get the feel, do the laps, find out where the deep patches are, so they know where to go a little bit slower, where they can push. It's going to get better each lap well, we can see from our commentary box window that it's almost stopped. I'm looking at some puddles on the main straight on pit lane exit, and it's the lightest drops now, so it's going to get better and better online as these bikes clear the water and, you know, the spray. It'll get less deep, and they'll be able to go a little bit faster each lap, and it's about going faster, doing all the laps you can, and staying on the bike.
There is your revised schedule then for the remainder of this afternoon's Grand Prix action. MotoGP Q1 will get underway at 4 p.m. local time, followed quickly by MotoGP Q2, the Premier classified for pole position here ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. That will be at 4:25 p.m. local time. Thankfully, just in time, that rain has eased off quite significantly. In fact, looking at our commentary box window, it seems to have ceased completely. There will be a few worries about standing water, although we have seen the BMW M3 safety car go around in the more than capable hands of Loris Capirossi and Franco Ancini. They have obviously cleared the circuit. They've deemed it safe enough for the action to recommence here in Japan.
Tony Arbolino, interesting character. Like, he is definitely, like, you know, from my point of view, on the spectrum. You know, when you wander past, he's bursts into song or screams or, you know, and is so friendly, so good to us, isn't he, Matt? Like, so he always welcomes us to the box, will answer questions, whatever. It seems to struggle with focus, but when he gets on the bike, he's got like hyper focus. He's absolutely fantastic, and the young guy hasn't got that much experience, and he's regularly at the very top of the screen, so I think he's got a big future.
He'll need some of that hyper focus coming up very, very shortly then, because we're about to get the completion of this Moto2 Q2 session done here in Japan. The pit lane will open in just under 2 minutes time. And then it's the dash for the Tissot watch, isn't it? Who's going to claim our 16th pole position of 2022 in Moto2? Fabio Quartararo. These will be nervy, anxious times for the MotoGP riders. He's right outside the Marc Vides Racing camp. Real close pals with Tony Arbolino, who Simon was just talking about. And Pecco Bagnaia made an excellent point, didn't he, in that conversation with Jack Appleyard down in pit lane a few moments ago. The top two riders, we've seen this a few times already so far this year and in the past, the top two riders in MotoGP that will come out of that opening 15-minute qualifying session, it will not just be an advantage, it'll be a big, big advantage, a significant advantage being dialed in to the latest track conditions. You won't be surprised